Dan Hurley's message to Meleek Thomas. I'm a badass, but you're a badass too. You're Locked On UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A little housekeeping for me. My YouTube support, absolutely amazing. Keep it going. I'd love to have all of those subscribers download the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. It's equally as important for helping the channel and also the Locked On UConn audience grow. So you can do me two quick favors if you have a second. First, click that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. Click. And then head over to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that follow button. That way you'll never miss a moment of Locked On UConn if you can't get to YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Can't tell you how much that support means to me. It's everything. If you're tuning in from your car, make sure you get that 5-star review in. Make sure we get some good reviews so that we get some new audience members who are interested in UConn content but don't have a way to find it. So thank you for that. UConn's pursuit of Meleek Thomas sounds like a match made in hoops heaven. Dan Hurley and Meleek Thomas don't sound like an odd couple. They sound simpatico. I think Dan's quote to him, "I'm a badass, but you're a badass too," is pretty indicative of the way the relationship would work. I think it reminds me a lot of Cam Spencer in the respect of there's probably going to be a lot of profanity that we don't use on the Locked On Podcast Network, said in frustration, but also in celebration, the way UConn fans are used to with Dan Hurley and his staff. Meleek Thomas visited Storrs on an official visit. Sounds like the Huskies left quite an impression. So much so that I've called it a lock. Multiple people in the recruiting industry have also called it a lock for him to be at UConn in the 2025 season. Here's what Meleek Thomas had to say about the visit. It was a very good visit. They're back-to-back champs, so you really can't not look into them or not want to go. So I go there. Everything was good. They showed a lot of hospitality. Like, I got the family vibe right away when I got there. So they showed love, showed me around, showed me everything. Thomas went on to say, they showed me what everything is going to be like if we were to potentially go there, just trying to putting me in a position where I could see myself being there without actually being there. So, yeah, I rocked with it. I rocked with the family vibe. I rocked with the winning, and I win a lot. So I rocked with the winning mentality, and that brought me into I just felt good, and I was there. So those are all quotes from Meleek. And so how about Coach Dan Hurley's message? It was pretty straightforward and impactful. Meleek shared, excuse my language, but he said, "I'm a badass, but you're a badass too. So come to this school." I mean, Dan Hurley's approach is pretty straightforward. He reminds me a lot of, a person that is, what do they say? A truth teller, right? The type of person that maybe gets himself in trouble from time to time because they talk too much truth. But that's who he is. He says things like, "I see myself in you. I see like I can understand your passion for the game." These are all Meleek quotes, basically. So I would love that type of player at my school. So this is a typical Dan Hurley recruit. It's why I don't see him going anywhere else, because when Dan Hurley talks to these kids, and we got some really great insight from Tashid Carr, who is Ahmad Noel's father, about just the aspect of he felt like Dan Hurley was from around his way. He's a Philly guy. He felt like he bonded with him. We don't have an idea of Dan talking to Meleek's parents or people that are involved in the recruitment, so we don't know that aspect as of yet. But it just shows his ability to get to the heart of the matter, which is he wants people to be in his image, just like any coach. Let's not forget that Hurley turned down the Lakers offer, which was, now that we know he got a 5-year, $50 million extension, or 6-year, $50 million extension to make him the second highest paid coach in college basketball. He turned down $20 million more to be the Lakers coach. And according to Thomas, that dedication bodes well for UConn's pursuit. His quote was, "It's big." his message to me was kind of like, I could have taken that job, but I love what I do so much, and I feel like I'm not finished here yet. So Dan Hurley is continuing his pursuit of everything. You know, those shirts that we have that say everything. I think that's also part and parcel of why Dan Hurley is so right for UConn and why he is who he is. And I can't see Meleek Thomas going anywhere else. He recently had an incredible Peach Jam performance at 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting. I think it's 7 rebounds, 6 assists. I was kind of giving a little crap about not getting the amount of assists, but he did so in his most recent game. And Dan Hurley in attendance, obviously. So there's also a really interesting connection for Thomas at UConn with Stephon Castle. Castle, who won a national championship and is now the 4th pick in the draft, dominating the G League, or not G League, the Summer League, is someone that Thomas looks up to. He said, that's my guy. Before he even went there, I was connected to Steph. We were at camps with each other. We bonded off the court. I was at Team USA with him. So that's my guy. To see him go there and to see with what the type of success that he had while he was there, it's kind of a confidence booster that if I do that, you can envision yourself at a school where you know somebody that went there had the connections there. So that is something I didn't know prior to this, doing a little research, and that to me almost cements it that he is going to go there, because let's be honest, guys, like there's schools that are involved in the recruitment that call themselves a brotherhood. But when you have recent success, not past success, you know, UConn has both. But if you have the most recent success and you also have guys who are close paramours, who are really close in age, not the Richard Hamiltons, not the Danielle Marshalls, not the Ray Allens, but literally the Steph Castle, who is 19 and about to be a big part of the Spurs rebuild, is showing how smart they were to draft him in the Summer League. And you can say to Stephon, like, hey, man, I know you got a lot going on, but hit up Meleek and tell him what's what. I'm sure that's already happened. So while UConn remain in strong position after the visit, I don't see them having as much competition. Thomas is still being heavily recruited by other programs: Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn, Kansas, Miami. All the schools' head coaches were there, including Hurley. Watched Thomas's first game, New Heights Lightning at Peach Jam, where he dropped, as I mentioned, a career high or a game high 25 points. He plans to make official visits soon, having to reschedule the Arkansas visit. I don't think that was done in a nefarious way, like where it's like, well, I'm not going to Arkansas now that I went to UConn. It just was interesting timing, so it was fun to tweak Arkansas fans about. And Calipari, he's expressed interest in visiting Kansas. And dude, take them all. We said this to when Ada Mahaney and Kobe Brea and all these guys we wanted in the transfer portal. Oh, I don't want make the deal. Like this isn't car sales, guys. If they leave the lot without the car, they can come back and buy. That's the way the world works now. So I know there's probably a lot of people listening to this that are in sales and cringing like, oh God. No, it's the truth. If this kid wants to come to UConn, he will come to UConn. And I truly believe he will. So take your visits. I'm not even close to the level of these guys, but I went on, I think, multiple visits in college for tennis recruitment. I had an idea of who I wanted to go to, but I was going to have fun and go to all the different visits, put on all the swag, have them take me to parties. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot more high level than that at these schools, but you got to do it if you're a kid. Unless you are like absolutely sold, you're never going to, I don't know. I don't even think if that's the case, you shouldn't go. You should definitely go on these visits. So, I mean, hell, look at the schools he'd be going on visits to. Miami. I know Kansas isn't exactly a hotbed, but it's pretty cool to be in Allen Fieldhouse. Alabama, SEC country. I'm sure the facilities are fantastic. Arkansas, same thing. But Allen Arena is pretty cool. So, he definitely has some interest in other places. I think I don't even care, what he says about them. No disrespect to Meleek. I'm very well thought out, very cool young man. Talking about Kansas has a winning background, the environment of the crowd, how they, let their guards rock with the ball, and it could be a spot for him for sure. Same with Alabama, very guard heavy. They let their guards, rock out. Obviously, it's a lot of people know, but if then you go back to UConn and say, yeah, but our guards are in the NBA now, most recently, and getting paid, and also showing that they are much more multifaceted players. So let's keep it real. Meleek is going to come to Storrs. I definitely feel that way. Between the fit, Dan basically having a billboard of players dominating at guard in the Summer League, I feel like it's all rosy for UConn. And another target that remains close to watch the decision is Darius Adams. I mean, this is a kid who is a Jersey native who is ranked number 4 in the shooting guard class in 2025 by 24/7 Sports. He runs with PSA Cardinals in the Nike EYBL circuit. He plays out of La Lumiere, Indiana. And for those who are worried that UConn is going to lose itself in their newfound recruiting success, Dan Hurley has already called that notion weeks ago. When we had Adam Zagori on, he confirmed it. The quotes are that, he knows that it won't hurt if it does. Who's already, sorry, so I'm going to go back to that. So he's already had players like Meleek Thomas in and a Caden Lewis, but having Darius in for an unofficial visit, he said on the night of the draft, you've got to get, this is Hurley talking, you got greater access, and there's a lot more excitement on the other end of text messages and phone calls, but you've got to get people that are right for us. So fear not, Dan Hurley is still vetting players. He's not turning into John Calipari or Coach K. Adams is coveted for his three-way scoring ability, so it makes sense that he would want to come to a place like UConn, who has done wonders for guards to excel over the years, and most recently with Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, Jordan Hawkins. So, it just he kind of has that next level shot creation, whether it be on the inside or behind the arc. So he's taken unofficial visits to Tennessee, Michigan State, Notre Dame, and Indiana, with Michigan also in the mix. So this kid is more of a wild card. I think Meleek Thomas is more of a lock. But if for some reason there's a wild card where Meleek goes someplace else, I think they turn their attention to Darius Adams, who they're very high on. And I feel like he feels as if UConn feels the same way about him. Now, if Darius came to them right away today and said, I want to come to UConn, I think they make room for both. Let's just be honest. As we can tell when we talk about the next segment, which is these individual 40-second videos that UConn has been throwing out there, they're amazing. And the talent that UConn has right now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with loading up your team with talent and then figuring out how to get all these guys minutes. So we're going to talk about those individual 40-second videos at UConn coming up after this. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up for peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only to U.S.-based customers. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On UConn with Mark Sonetto here. I am excited. Isn't November yet? Because I think we're 4 months away, if we can really believe that. But I don't know about you guys, but these 40-second, 38-second clips that they're putting, and sometimes longer, on UConn men's basketball's Twitter account are by far what's getting me through this summer of heat and mediocre sports that are on right now. And even the Wimbledon final was just blah, right? So couldn't even get a outside of the Big Four great sporting event. And we have the British Open that's happening now, or the Open Championships. I'm not a big soccer fan. Please don't try to convince me to be one. So in anticipation of what this UConn men's basketball team is looking like, I appreciate the men's basketball social media for putting out these videos. And I ranked them today on just based off of my excitement, and also for some of the you guys can, and they haven't finished them yet, because to my count they've only done 9, so I'm assuming there'll be more with the folks that they haven't talked about yet. So I have 9 ranked for you today, and this has zero to do with what I think about the player, or if I'm less or more excited about said player. It's just about kind of maybe it's the way that it was edited or cut, but I have my top 9 videos of what I've seen so far from this team. And number 1, actually, I'm going to go backwards. 9 is Jalen Stewart. because while it was impressive and equally as amazing as the other 9 that are in this group, or other 8, it's almost expected. Like Stewie is expected to take that next leap, right? He, outside of Alex Caravan and maybe Samson Johnson, I think he's probably, in Hassan Diarra, you probably would look at him as the most reliable next option, third or fourth option on the team, and could end up being the primary scoring option on the team. That's what I'm expecting from Stewie and Jalen Storr. And then I go back, kind of drill down from there. Number 8 was Samson Johnson. Looks incredibly spry, twitchy, looks a little bigger. I know he's gained about 15 pounds of muscle. I think he's up to 225, which is amazing. I think I'm seeing a little more of a quicker finish at the rim. So to me, some of the videos of that. Also, when you're playing a post position, it's not as sexy as, some of the guards getting to go out and show their dribbling ability and shooting and screening and all of that. So love the slips to the basket from Samson. So really excited about Sam there. And then I'll go to Liam McNeely. Just showing an all-around game, just that ability to get to the rim, shooting, passing, screening, the ability to throw pocket passes, really kind of showing an all-around game that people were excited about when he signed with the Huskies, and a potential lottery pick for the following NBA draft. Then drill down from there. Solo ball. It's another one. I'm expecting Solo to make the leap. Like, I know some people are, he showed flashes, but I'm not really expecting much from him. I don't agree with that one bit. I think Solo is my guy. I am all about the Solo surge. I think if he gets minutes because he's working his butt off, because he's really showing his versatility as a player, his physicality, I think, is going to be something that Dan Hurley, is a bellwether, call running backs bellwether backs because they don't need to be taken out of the game. I think Solo could probably play 40 minutes if you needed him to. He is what they're looking for: tough, long, can shoot, can get to the hoop, can go up and block a shot out of nowhere. The kid's a freak athlete. So Solo's at 6. At 5, I have Terrace Reed Jr., the transfer out of Michigan, looking like a young bull, Adama Sanogo. No pun intended for Adama on his 2-way contract with the Chicago Bulls. Just the footwork, the grace almost on the court, his ability to float to the basket. He's a bigger presence than I think people are going to give him credit for initially. And when they see that, I think you're gonna feel him on the court. He's a space eater, but he's not 7'3" like Zach Edey and Donovan Clingan, but he's wider, right? He's got a wider body, lower space, lower center of gravity. I think he's really going to dominate the paint in the Big East, and he's coming from the Big Ten, which is, I know that's a fraudulent league, as most of us UConn fans know when it comes to winning, but they're physical. I mean, if there's one card that Big Ten can kind of not place over the Big East, but can talk about, is their physicality. I think Terrace is going to be ready for the Big East in that respect, and just big time UConn basketball. And number 4, Alex Caravan, kind of in the middle, does it all, ho-hum, on the break threes, great passes down low to Youssef. I think it was Youssef, or it could have been Samson. It's hard to kind of tell on the video, but just his all-around game is just, he's going to be a first-team All-American. I think he's going to be the Big East Player of the Year. I think those are the expectations for Alex, because he came back for a 3rd straight national championship. And I think he's going to live up to those lofty goals of being Big East Player of the Year and being a first-team All-American, potential lottery pick. And then the 3 kind of almost like wild cards that I'm super excited about. How about Ahmad Noel, number 0, Philly kid? We had his dad on early in the podcast's history talking about the recruiting process, talking about how Ahmad is super excited to be in Storrs and looking forward to being here. And basically we asked him, what are we getting? You're getting a winner. You're getting a guy who can play on the ball, off the ball. And you see it in that video. It's 38 seconds long, but it's 38 seconds of some of the best basketball you'll see, which is showing his versatility, having a kick out pass where he's driving to the basket and kind of faking out Aiden and dropping a little dump pass behind his back to Liam for a kick out 3. His shooting ability looks smooth, and it looks like he won a drill because the team on the other side did one of these. Oh, when Ahmad hit a 3 at the buzzer, high arcing 3 over Ada Maney. And I'm just looking forward to his quickness. It looks like he has a really good pace. I think every UConn guard has something in common that I'm starting to, not necessarily starting to pick up the trend, but the more I talk about them, when I break them down, is pace of play. It looks like a guy like Ahmad already has kind of that Stephon Castle. He's not as big, but that's little guard of, okay, well, I'm 6 foot, but I have that shutdown where I'm going to kind of lull you to sleep and then get to the hoop. I have the ability to hesitate and then a quick release. Float game, the ability to shoot. I'm super excited about his ability to pass, dribble, handle the offense, and be off the ball when needed. And then the last 2 videos, I think you guys know where I'm going with this. Aiden Mahaney is going to be a problem for most opposing defenses. This dude can flat out score. He has great vision. There's a great point in a video where he's dribbling to his left and he like looks at Solo and then kicks it in the corner to Jalen for an open 3 in the corner. I mean, I'm super excited about his ability to go left, his ability to rise up and hit a mid-range jumper a la Tristan Newton. And again, I think that's the key thing is I think he is the Tristan Newton replacement. I don't think he's the Cam Spencer replacement. Let's not be lazy. Both guys are white. Big deal. This is basketball. I think if we're talking about pure basketball ability, not what they look like, I think Tristan is a better comp for Aiden in terms of his pace of play, his ability to get to the hoop, his ability to take on physicality, and his all-around game. Some of the pocket passes he was making in these drills, just get me to November right now. Fast forward it right there. Let's get to November. I want to see these guys play. And then last but not least, oh my God, Isaiah Abraham. I was not, what's the Shaq meme? I was not familiar with your game. My guy, come on the podcast anytime you want. Like anybody can come on, but I was like, who is this guy? I knew exactly who he was. And when you read about it and you watch some of these videos, and someone made a comment a long time ago about how I sounded silly when I said this. I stand by this. Look, I don't care if you're playing at Monteverde or if you're playing at the Peach Jam. Not every one of those players is a Division I athlete. They're good players. And the majority of them, I'd say like 60, 70% are going to play college basketball, if not higher. But if you're that elite level athlete and you're above everybody, sometimes it's hard to showcase your ability because you're so much better than people physically. It's hard to kind of look at the little nuances. God, Isaiah Abraham took Aiden to the whole spin move all the way up for a dunk. It's just like, you just don't see a lot of freshmen do that, that are not a 5-star, guy that's a projected lottery pick. And Isaiah was a 4-star. He was, I think, 60th in the country ranked, like Dan Hurley says, by outside entities. So it really doesn't matter where he was ranked. He's here now, and he's showing a much better shot than I think what most people thought. Dan was in his media availability talking about how he's been the biggest success or surprise in terms of his ability. So, God, I'm so excited about these videos. I want more. And I think it answers a question to one of my YouTube people that said, or comments on YouTube. It's like, why isn't UConn putting out videos the way Duke is? Well, they are now, and they're doing it in a way that is very subtle and almost like watch out, essentially. I feel like it's like one of those, like an old school warning. It's like, we have all of the pieces and we're going to unveil them to you over the course of a period of a few weeks, and good luck. So are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn on the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the shouting. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, UConn fans, we're finally getting what we've always wanted, although albeit maybe not the exact same players and teams you thought. We're going to talk about Stars and Storrs and TBT and the multi-generational amount of players that are on this squad, and give you some details on where you can watch. Even if you're in the Connecticut area, obviously the area where you can go watch them play. Coming up after this. Okay, you're back on Locked On UConn. Quick little break there. Stars of Storrs, TBT, the basketball tournament. We've talked about the Elam ending. We've had Mark D'Amelia on talking about how he's the general manager, sponsor of the team. Go get your merch at, I believe it's at Stars of Stores, thetournament.com/TBT/starsofstores.com. Or just go to thetournament.com and search for Stars of Stores. Shockingly, the folks that are in the picture of the Stars of Stores are not on the actual team, but that's okay. Here's who is. Chris Smith, all-time leading scorer of the UConn Huskies in men's basketball history, is the head coach. His son, Chris Smith Jr., is also an assistant coach. Tyler Olander is also a coach, former player and two-time national champion for UConn. Then you have the Huskies that are on the team. Atur Majurk, 6'10" center, playing at a US Monastir or US Monastir from Tunisia. That's where he last played. DeAndre Daniels, most notably playing. Where was the last time where DeAndre played? I know he got drafted by the Toronto Raptors, and I don't know what his path was after that. I know that's a terrible segue, but let's check it out. He's 32 years old. He looks great. I saw a picture of him the other day. He last played. He was a second-round pick in 2014 for the Toronto Raptors, and then he played summer league, and then went to where he averaged about 10 points and 6 rebounds. He signed with the Perth Wildcats for the 2014-2015 NBL, so New Zealand Basketball League, which is a great league. I know plenty of really great players that go down there and play. So he was there for a while for 2014-15, then came back to the NBA G League in 2016. Played for for the I don't know where this is, an Italian professional basketball team. Then went back to the G League for 1, 2, 3 seasons. Played for the another G League, Clippers, Texas Legends, Dallas Mavericks. So pretty much G League until 2019. And he most recently was playing for the New Zealand Basketball League. So the guy's been in good basketball shape. There's plenty of really good players that still play in the NBL, not the NBA. So I'm sure he's going to have himself a nice little tournament run for the Stars of Stores. Then you got Joey Calcaterra coming off, a national championship with UConn. I wonder if Joey has played in other places. I think let's see that real quick. While I have everybody on right now. He was in the South Bay Lakers in the NBA G League, played college basketball for UConn, obviously, and played at San Diego. Yeah, he was recently with the NBA G League. I don't think he's playing right now, so he's going to be playing in the basketball tournament. Let's see after the season. He committed to Stars of Stores, so that means you can't play in the G League. So maybe he'll pick up some play after that, and then the rest. Some guys that have been out of basketball for a little while. Jerome Dyson. Actually, let's see. I think Jerome had been playing for a little while. I know Jeff Adrian, who's playing, hasn't been playing in quite a bit. So we got a Polish league for Jerome Dyson. Had played in Italy, or as my favorite comedian Tom Segura likes to call it, Italy. Italy again. So. Listen, some of these guys know what they're doing in terms of you go play in Europe. They're playing in some really fun leagues in some fun areas to be a part of. Israel playing in the Israeli. He was the Israeli league champion in 2017. So, he got drafted. Or actually, he went undrafted, but then was with the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2010 and was in the G League after that with the Tulsa 66ers. So my guy has been around for a while. So that's Jerome Dyson. Jeff Adrian has been around for a little bit. I'm just really excited about what's the starting five going to be. They're going to go. We got Ryan Boatwright. The Boat Show has arrived. Jeff Adrian looked good coming off the bus. Joey C looked good, ready to roll. My guy Chris Smith was looking spry, looks like he's ready to go out and coach and get get teed up like Dan Hurley. But what's that starting lineup going to be? Is it going to be DeAndre Daniels, Joey California, RJ Cole, Ryan Boatwright, Jeff Adrian? Is that going to be the mix? Or do they go Atur Majurk? Do they go Jeff Adrian? Do they go Boatwright, RJ Cole? The guards are smaller. Like what I would assume as the scoring guards are definitely smaller, but they do have Rodney Purvis, who's 6'5", and they have Joey Calcaterra at 6'3". So I'm really curious if they'll have either Seth Maxwell or from Indiana Wesleyan. He's a 7-footer they picked up, or TJ Mason from Baylor, who's 6'9", could possibly have some non-UConn players in the starting five, and then kind of see the way the game goes and see if we can get some of the scorers in, play a little zone or matchup zone. I'd love to see if we can get the talented Chris Smith, now the head coach of the Stars of Storrs, on to talk about the team. They have an open practice that you guys can go to in 2 days, 7/17, from 2 to 4 p.m., followed by an autograph session with the players until about 5. So the tickets are $25. Proceeds will benefit Brian McMahon High School in Norwalk. So definitely check that out if you can. I would love to be there with you guys. Obviously, you guys know that I'm in North Carolina, so I cannot. But if you can go and support the guys, support the team, definitely do so. I think I only yawned twice, once at the beginning of the show, once at the end. So I'm pretty proud of myself there after a pretty tough child sleeping night, but it's all good. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's now also available on the Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto, asking you to stay locked in, stay connected, make sure your toughness meter is always rising. And as always, go Huskies.